anything. They're already doing it and they keep doing it. Signing what? Being obligated to do what? When did they ever did anything they said they would do? That was a good thing to do. So yes, that is very unfortunate that the entire 6 United Nations resolution is out the door on Monday. That is why. So there has been some. I really don't know what to talk about because so many things to talk about. I don't know where to start. I'm unfortunately upset. I don't want to turn this meeting to anything unhappy, but it's really bad and serious. Go ahead, sir.
Not many people in America, I think, understand the way the government in Iran works. Maybe if you could just briefly describe the relationship of the Council of Guardians to the what we would think of as the ordinary government in Iran. How does that relationship work out?
Absolutely. Very good question. Again, that goes back to the Iran not hesitating to use the nuclear weapon once they have it, and they're going to have it under this deal. Iran is about the supreme power, supreme so-called Ayatollah. Ayatollah in Arabic means the sign of God. And poor God if this is the sign of it. This guy overrules the Constitution, overrules any votes of anybody. So there is no government if he doesn't like the government, meaning that he can say he woke up this morning and something came from God to take the bomb off to anywhere he wants to. There's no Congress, there's no voting, there's no power can override his decision. So forget about government. And that's the game they play. Because the government is signing the so-called signing the contract. So he, which is over the law, will have the actual power to do whatever he wants. And that's where they get religion and state mixed up in the country, because now they have nothing else to power. I was in Iran when the Iraq and Iran war broke up. This guy has no knowledge of how to run a society, how to answer questions, people, how to take care of the economy, nothing. And when the Iraq war started, if anybody had any complaint about anything in the society, he would say, shame on you. How could you dare to even ask if the price of bread is high? Go to war. Everybody else is fighting. And you're worried about your college funds, for instance. This is how they want to have chaos. That's why they are in Iraq, they're in Syria, they're in Yemen. This is without atomic bomb. They like to create chaos and they live in it, and that's how they survive. This is a pattern that they have had. They have been trained in the city of Qom, which Khomeini comes from, and everybody else, Rafsanjani comes from, Rouhani comes from. They are taught how to rule, how to sustain their power, and how to just ignore everything else. Because, God forbid, we're in the house of God right here. So trust is given. We love each other. We trust each other. We want to do something together about anything that we see that is unfair, or anybody who needs help. This is how we maintain our dignity. This is how we stay healthy as a person. Because when we see something is wrong, we do something about it. It heals us. But in the mosque, yes, I'm sorry.
No, wait a second. Hold on. Microphone. Go ahead. Go ahead. All right, your turn to ask a question.
So, Iran is leading the Shia fighters, supporting the Shia fighters in Syria, in Iraq, in Yemen,
Right.
and Hezbollah in Lebanon.
Yes.
How do you see, and mostly they're fighting Sunni.
Right.
So how do you see this war, which has been existing for several years now, many years now, how do you see this playing out? How do you see this going forward? You have the Sunni Muslim world at war with the Shia Muslim world. And is this going to drag everyone else in the world into this war? How do you see this playing out?
Very good question. We have a saying, I think many other cultures share the same thing. The way a snake works, a rattlesnake, a dangerous snake, again, with all due respect to snake and animal, if you hit the head of the snake, that's when you can make it disabled and kill. Cutting the tail just doesn't. The head of the snake is the Iranian regime. The answer to your question is, there's again a little slide you can see with regard to Iraq and Syria and Yemen. This deal, in fact, feeding the existence of this whole chaos. Yes, the Iranian regime is Shia. Majority of Iraq is Shia. Holy places in Iraq are the Shia holy places for the most part, like Karbala, Najaf. Syria, also a holy place, is the city of Medina. Also in Saudi Arabia. So it's not a question of Shia and Sunni. This is what's happening, but this really distracts us from the main point here. Yes, the Iranian regime is supporting the Shia forces in Iraq and in Syria because they speak sort of same language and they make it a religious thing. It's not a religious man. It's not religious differences even. That's what we hear in media. It's about controlling these two countries. Unfortunately, when we left Iraq, we handed out in a silver plate to the Iranian regime who killed the American troops there. And we're negotiating with them and respecting their signature. What I see, back to your question, what's going to happen, it's going to get worse. They have a special, very strong network. They're funded very well. They are here. They are in the United States. The information that we get, that we pass on to the officials, that demonstrates what's going on. And they get on it, and they get to the administration, nothing happens. It stops there. It stops there. Amazing, amazing. At Princeton University, we have a gentleman who is a killer, a hostage taker, one of the member of Revolutionary Guard. He was sent here, and he's teaching in Princeton University as a professor. Has changed. He comes to Voice of America and he negotiates and he talks about lifting the sanction. The people of Iran are not at fault. They find some kind of excuse to talk about easing the relationship between the United States and the Iranian regime. They are in Harvard University. They are in Washington. They lobby for the Iranian regime. They have an organization. They don't say they belong to the Iranian regime. We know they belong to it. We have documents to prove that they belong to the Iranian regime. We pass on the documents. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. That's how bad it is. Sorry.
No, everything feeds together. So I do have a question, but before I ask the question, I want to let everyone know, if you're not aware, that stopping this deal, we could have done something in April. In April, Senator Corker had his bipartisan bill to change the treaty clause of the Constitution, and that was our time, was in April. In April, and the exact date of the signage of that bill was April 14th of this year. If you go back and you take a look at it, it's specifically Senator Corker's bill. There was one senator who stood up. There was one senator missing on that vote. The vote was 98 in favor of changing the treaty clause, which took the power away from the Senate to control this, and abdicated that power to the president, and that's why we're here today, because of that vote in April. The one senator who opposed that is Senator Tom Cotton from Arkansas. So I wanted to mention that if you're not aware of it. And then my question to you is, we have terrific groups that I'm wondering if you're coordinating with. Frank Gaffney's group and retired Major General Polly Vallely.
Yes, I think on the 22nd, 6 o'clock, it's a gathering at GCC, Jewish Community Center in Scottsdale. I think there are many groups there, and yes, we do have, and we do go back and forth. I unfortunately am not available always in Arizona, between the politics and between.
Those are national groups.
Right, they are. I got a call from one of friends of Mr. Mark Singer yesterday, Dr. Matthew Cosmo, if I'm right, his last name. He invited us to speak there, and one of the group representatives is going to be there. So we are. Thanks for asking. Anybody else has any questions? Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I have a question regarding the agreement or the treaty itself. I haven't seen it, so I haven't had a chance to read it, and I don't know if it's available.
It is.
Okay. Can you kind of quickly summarize what that thing says? What have we really agreed to?
Sure. I hope we haven't agreed to. I hope we get 67 votes. I think we have 60. We need 7 more to go over the veto power. I haven't read it. I have listened to it. There is a copy of that. I think Mark is having it in capacity.
May I say something about that, sir?
Sure, please.
I went out and printed out 159 pages and made a notebook. When you read through this program, it's going to freak you out. The people like Senator John Kerry, who served in Vietnam, he was a traitor back in the Vietnam era. He's a traitor now. If you don't realize what's going on, this is like the United States is now the Chamber of Commerce for the Iranian Ayatollah Khomeini regime. This thing has a list of half the 159 pages have to do with names of companies that are going to be allowed to trade throughout the world. The tariffs and the sanctions will be removed. It's a big disgrace. And you need to go print this out and go through it. It's not really interesting, but we are now the Chamber of Commerce for the Iranian government. It's a disgrace. And I really think that Kerry and the President of the United States ought to be held for treason based on this. Okay. So that's the bad news. The good news is my wife and I, Kim, we spend many summers traveling to the Summer Olympics over the years, and we used to root for the Iranian wrestling team, and it was the wildest thing you could ever imagine. These Iranian wrestlers are unbelievable. Kim's brother wrestled at Oklahoma University, so we used to go and sit on the sidelines. It was the greatest wrestling events that you could imagine at the Summer Olympics. In 1996 and 2000, the weightlifter from Iran set the world record and won the gold medal. He beat out the Russian and the Germans in the gold medal for the heavy weightlifting category. Myself and Kim, we traveled in 2000 to Iran for 3 weeks with a UCLA group. We went with Ed Krupp, who's an astronomer and curator of the Griffith Observatory. We were there for 3 weeks. It was 122 degrees. The greatest people you'll ever meet in the world is when you go and meet the people in China, when you go and meet the people in Egypt, India, and the Persian people are unbelievable. There's nothing else you can say that's anything that you could ever do derogatory about the Persian people. It's just like everything else, governments really are not good. The one thing we did do, we met a lot of young people and families that wanted to meet and correspond with us. Unfortunately, we decided not to write them back because we would get them in trouble. And that was really kind of the saddest part of our trip. A friend of ours who lives in Europe left in 1979. His last name was Bakhtiar. His father and his brother stayed over in Iran, and he stayed and went to Europe, and he's been there ever since. And he gave us a telephone number while we were in Iran of a contact if we had any problems that we could contact this person. he would help us get out of any trouble. No trouble. The best food you'll ever have is an